Welcome to the Divorce Angel podcast, and thank you for joining us. Get ready to uncover the strategies everyone can implement for successful separation and divorce. This will save you valuable time, money and emotions while learning the secrets to your happily ever after. And now your host, my wife, Tanya Summerton.
Hello and welcome to the very first Divorce Angel podcast. I'm your host and Divorce Angel, Tanya Summerton. This podcast has been such a long time in the making and I'm so excited to bring it to you. I want to first thank my really good girlfriend, Tracy Parisi, who is in marketing and has said to me for quite a long time that I need to get my message out there, that there's so many people that need to understand that there's a better way to get divorced and there's not too many people out there actually giving that free information away. And also to my podcast mentor, Ray Milladoni, who helped me put all this together. Ray has been wonderful, and if anyone needs any help in putting podcasts together, please just Google him. He's a guru in this area, and he's made this so easy for me. So I'm very, very excited about providing these episodes to my audience week after week. We have such a lot of work to do in this area of divorce. It is from a whole lot of different areas. You know, there's a stigma about if you've been divorced that you're a failure. You know, you're not very good at being in a partnership or being in a marriage. There's just so many mistruths out there that I'd really like to spend some time investigating and trying to find out why people feel the way they do when it's really not the truth. We're not failures at all. If anything, we can turn our divorce experiences around and make them something that is really inspiring and life-changing, and we can become better people because of what we've been through. So don't ever let anyone tell you just because you've been divorced you are a failure. If you do feel like that, that's your own limiting beliefs, issues that you yourself have. And I know for me, I am a child of divorced parents, and I remember when my parents divorced, I was 16, and I sort of felt the stigma when I went to school and said to my girlfriends, oh, you know, my parents are divorcing. I myself, even from a child's perspective, felt like there was something wrong with us as a family unit, where really it was not the case. And when I look back at those experiences as a child now, I can see that the best thing that ever happened to us as a family, well, this is from my perspective, I'm not talking on my brother's behalf, but from my perspective was when my parents separated, because I would walk into the room when I was a child, and I could just feel this tension in the room, and it was complete and utter unhappiness. So probably for 3 years of my teenage life, I spent in my bedroom because it just felt better to be in there than it was to be the area where my parents were together. Now, they'd probably be really upset by that because that's not something that either of them, they're both very good parents, would want for us as children. But they thought at the time that's what they needed to do until one of them was ready to make the move to change the circumstances that we all lived in. So I myself have 3 children, 3 beautiful children. I was married for 22 years and with my ex-husband for 24 years. I never thought I would get divorced either. So when we first got married, when I was quite young, we got together when I was 18, married at 21, had 3 kids by the time I was 25, and started a business all within the first decade of our marriage. So it was pretty full on. I loved him dearly and thought that we would have an amazing life, travel through every experience together. But unfortunately, we grew apart. You know, we continued to, when I look back at it now and sort of examine what went wrong, there was a lot that sort of probably wasn't perfect, but I outgrew my ex-husband. You know, I always wanted to try and do better and move on and have more greater experiences. Not that he would probably like this, but I sort of felt like he was like the handbrake. He was always, no, let's just slow down. Let's think about this. Do we really want to do this? Looking back now, we were just two completely different people. Unfortunately, it didn't work. throughout this podcast, obviously, you will hear more and more of my story and what I went through. At times, it wasn't nice. I ended up having to, when I left that marriage, I was a stay-at-home mum for 16 years. So I didn't have a job. So I had to go out and become employed, which was all very full of growth for me. Like, if you think about it, I had to step outside of my comfort zone for probably a full 2 years after I left my ex-husband. I can honestly look back now and say that most of my growth happened during that period of time. I'm very, very lucky to have firstly been married to him, but secondly, to have also experienced the life that we had before and the life that I now have. And I feel that life is full of adventures and it can be really amazing, but life is all around equilibrium. We have our ups and we have our downs. And if, there's this stigma out there that we've got to be happy all of the time, and it's not true. When someone feels a little bit depressed or things aren't going well or they're not happy in their relationship, they're made to feel like life, there's something wrong with them. Life was not meant to be like this. We see it over social media all the time. We hear it all the time. Everything, we've all got to go to work. We've got to have these amazing jobs. We've got to have these happy relationships. Our kids have to all be perfect. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to be something that we were really never meant to be, that we always feel like we're failing. Life is all about equilibrium. I'm such a true believer. We have to have our ups and downs. We have to have our sorrows to understand what happiness is all about. If everything is always happy, how will we actually understand that we're happy when it just becomes same day in, day out stuff? My divorce, that I seriously and physically was rocking back in a corner, crying with my hands across my legs, just worrying and wondering how I would ever survive and what was it that I was meant to do with my life. I've been able to turn all of that around and I now have an exceptional life. I've remarried to an amazing man who I love dearly. I have this fantastic business where I have now found my purpose and I help people every day go through the journey of divorce. And the reason I do that is because when I was going through it myself and I was trying to find all of the answers, especially in this day of technology, we can Google anything. We can get on and find out any little bit of information that we need. It seems from any area of the world, we are able to put, or at our fingertips, we are able to find out anything. But why is it that when we need to find out how to get through a divorce at a really reasonable rate, or the best way to do it, there's nothing there? I searched best way to get divorce process, cheapest way to get divorce. Like, I had a list. I just went through everything. There was nothing. There was just nothing there. And I thought, this is just completely unfair. And I was lucky enough to be referred to a wonderful lawyer. She had helped a neighbour of my mum's. I was referred to her and I actually felt that I didn't have too bad of an experience. Like, when I talked to all my girlfriends, and at this stage I was working in a corporate role, when I was talking to my colleagues and everyone else, people were telling me, everyone just seemed to have this story about this $100,000 divorce, or the divorce process, and how it had cost them so much and how it had been prolonged. And I just felt like, why does it need to be like that? It just shouldn't have to be. There's got to be a better way. At this stage, I can honestly say that my ex-husband and I, things were pretty bitter. They were, we weren't in a good space at all. We were both very, very angry. As my brother would say, things had pretty much turned to custard, and we just were not getting along, and I could see that it was going to cost us quite a lot of money. And to be honest, I was so angry as well. I was trying to make sure that he didn't get the things that he wanted just because I could. Looking back, such a stupid way to be reacting. And I now teach my clients that for every action, there is a reaction and there's ramifications for bad decisions. And we really need to sit there and consider them. And when we're going through a divorce, we need to look at it like it's a business transaction. And whilst that might sound completely ridiculous because there's so much emotions involved, it is true. If you look at your divorce like a business, you will tackle it from a different place. So if you look at everything from a factual perspective, right, why am I making this decision? Why am I doing this? Then your outcome will be completely different. Hopefully, if you can remove those emotions from it as well, you don't get so angry with each other. It is a true science, and our business has grown, and we've been helping more and more people, and every time we help a new client, we learn something new that we put back into the business to make sure our next clients don't go through those same experiences. Let's hope this goes for years, but we are going to do some learnings, some teachings. We're going to interview people that have gone through some of the darkest moments and they've been able to turn their lives around to have amazing new relationships, and not just relationships, but businesses and life lessons from what they've gone through. So I want to share all those with you. Business too. So if there's a better way to do it, if I can teach you how to do it, I mean, talking to your lawyer or you're dealing with your financial advisor to sell your house, whatever the case may be, if there's something that I can do that will make your life that little bit easier, then I've had a really, really good day. And that is now my purpose. So my obsession is helping clients chart a course through the complex process of divorce and starting a new life. It's something that I just feel I have to do. Last year, I wrote my very first book called The Jelly Bean Jar, Empowering Independence Through Divorce. And the reason a lot of people go, oh, why'd you call your book The Jelly Bean Jar? Well, when I was a little girl, my mum explained to me that love is like a massive jar of colourful jelly beans. That's how it feels. You know, it's bright and beautiful and bouncy, and there's all these amazing, vibrant colours. Now, as the relationship goes on, every time someone makes a mistake or does something wrong, a jelly bean comes out of the jar. Now, if you can imagine, if someone continues to make ongoing mistakes and removes the jelly beans and doesn't replenish them, so in other words, if something goes wrong and your partner or yourself doesn't say sorry or doesn't make good the mistake that they've made or doesn't at least highlight what went wrong, then the jelly bean is not replenished. And then ultimately what will happen is there's no jelly beans left. And once there's no jelly beans left, then unfortunately there's no more love to work on. And when there's no more love, you can't fix it. So my new husband and I, we've been together now for 7 years. He's a big burly man. He often says things about our jelly beans, and his mates must look at him like he's just silly. But we're all about having jelly beans all over our house. So I want an overflowing jelly bean jar. It's all about doing more every day for each other and making sure that we look after each other and we really respect the love that we have, because I don't want to lose it. Like, I've been through it once. I've learnt so many lessons from that. I would hate to be replaying those things over and over again in my new relationship. And that's part, seriously, of what we need to do as a society. So the latest stats, especially here in Australia, are quite alarming. If you look at it, 40% of first-time marriages end, 70% of second-time marriages, and 90% of third-time marriages. Now, those stats are simply alarming. I can't do much about the 40% because I can't choose who you marry or whatever you do. But our clients that work with us, I can help with the 70%, because if I can sit there and tell you and teach you the lessons of what went wrong and get you to actually highlight what part of the failure in the relationship you took, it actually then means that when you go into your next relationship, you look at things completely differently. So we're ultimately trying to save those people from the mistakes, the second and the third lot of mistakes. And the other thing is I just get so frustrated by the fact that people are using our court system to go and fight, and this is legitimate, one of the lawyers that works with us has told a story about how some clients wanted to fight over nuts and bolts of a cabinet that neither of them wanted, but there was just so much animosity and hate in the relationship that they were going to do anything just to hurt each other. And, the court system is not there for that sort of stuff. The court system is there for children of abuse, people in domestic violence situations. Like, that's what it's there to do. It's not for people who have had a relationship and things haven't gone to plan. That's, we need to take responsibility for that, and we need to fix it ourselves. It's not for other people to do for us. So if we can make divorces and separations as amicable as possible, and it all starts with the very first conversation and how we tackle that. So I'm so excited about what we're going to bring to you and the group of amazing people that I have. My experts, I have financial advisors, real estate agents, obviously a panel of lawyers all over Australia. We have stylists that help our clients clean out their wardrobes and get back into new careers. We help people with their CVs. Whatever it is that someone needs to do to rebuild their life, that's what I'm here to do, because this is your chance to start over afresh and have an absolutely amazing life. So you shouldn't be looking at divorce as a failure, but just possibly the beginning of something amazing. And it's the learning blocks that you're going to take from that previous relationship or the relationship you're in now that will help you build to the person that you were meant to be all along. So if you'd like to come along and join our Facebook group, we have the Divorce Angel Facebook group that you can search and come along and join. I do offer some trainings in there and some tips and helpful discussion. And not only that, it's a really good support network if you need other people to rely on. So that's a great asset if you'd like to come and jump in there. I also have an amazing website. We've got on our homepage, we've got 3 freebies there that you can download and have a look at. You can go to www.tanyasummerton.com, and that's Tanya with a Y, and you can hop in there and have a look at some of our programs and our freebies. I'd love for you to subscribe to this podcast and share it and comment. I'm going to bring these to you every Thursday. So if there's something that you'd really like, send me an email at admin@tanyasummerton.com and we will try and address whatever questions or queries that you have. I look forward to talking to you again week after week. So thank you.